Good evening and welcome to our first of many Women's Self-Care and Social. Some of you may know me. My name is Cindy Chetta, a financial health and wellness coach. Tonight, as your master of ceremonies, as a group along with our speakers, we will have dialogues on self-care and compassion. Our first speaker and organizer for this evening event is the Executive Director of Project Instigate, Board of KPU Alumni Association, international motivational speaker, and an acclaimed TEDx speaker, learning strategist, and crisis intervention. Our one and only Fatima Zaidi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm so happy to see everybody. My name is Fatima, and I'm the owner of Project Instigate. And Project Instigate is something I started to help individuals, to empower individuals to become leaders in their lives and be able to take control of things that, or shift their focus from things that they don't have control over to things and aspects of their lives that they do have control over. My personal mission in life is to create leaders and help empower people to live in alignment with their values and achieve success through that. I'm very passionate about creating safe spaces where people can feel comfortable and feel vulnerable, feel like they can open up and share things.
As I will continue, I have the pleasure tonight to introduce my first cousin, whom I adore and admire. She's married, mother of two, a wisdom coach, certified life coach, author, speaker, dance, and yoga instructor. Ashley Angeline Kumar, known as the confidence coach in her hometown of Edmonton, Alberta. Her own adversity and the historical adversities of women and girls have faced fuels her life's overarching vision to empower women and girls to become incredibly confident and resilient and handle life's challenges with ease. She has seen and experienced herself the devastating consequences of poor image, low self-confidence, and how it can create a downward spiral and which lead to detrimental consequences. Ashley uses proven multisensory learning techniques with an emphasis on storytelling, in a 5-step coaching program involving arts, crafts, dance, and yoga to help empower children and their families. Results have been vast to children across the country. Ashley?
Thank you very much, Cindy. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you to all the ladies. I hope you can all hear me well. And if you can't hear me, just let me know. So, because of what's been happening in the world, I was actually scheduled to do several talks in the next 2 months. And unfortunately, they've all been canceled, as probably all your events have also been canceled. And then I got this message from my cousin, Cindy, and she said, Fatima, this lady Fatima is going to call you. And it's funny because I looked at my phone and literally, just like it happened for you, Fatima called me about a minute after I looked at my phone after seeing a message from Cindy. And me and Fatima spoke, and we thought we also aligned, and that's why I'm here today. But I'm also here to share a very specific message. So I have a little story that I'm going to start with first. Let me just get my screen here. Ick. Ugh, the little seedling said as she burst through the thick skin of the seed. There was thick, black, icky mud all around her. What is this stuff, she thought. What am I? Who am I? Where am I? She wondered. She saw many different types of plants all around her. The plants looked tall and strong, and she seemed small and insignificant among them. She caught glimmers of silver fish and green frogs darting amidst the sharp rays of the sunlight that shone into the pond. What are those flashes of moving light? It's bright, and I think I like that much better than this dark mud that I seem to be stuck in. How am I going to get through this muck to reach the light above me? She thought to herself. Hey, I see that you've broken through the shell of your seed and now you're a little seedling. Welcome to the pond, said a tall green plant beside her. Oh, is this a pond? She asked. Who am I? Well, I don't know your name, but you look like a lotus seedling, the plant said. Oh, I'm a lotus? She asked. Well, yes, you are. You're a plant that is born into deep, dark muck, and soon you will have to try very hard to grow through this mucky water and reach the surface of this pond. On the surface, you'll meet more plants and animals, and your flower petals will blossom when the sun shines bright on your face, the plant said. Wow, that sounds like a long and hard journey. But I like the sound of blossoming when the sun shines, the seedling said. I think we should call you Kamalika, little lotus, the plant said. The lotus seedling smiled. I like Kamalika. I think I want my name to be Kamalika, she said. What is your name? My name is Taro. Kamalika smiled at her tall new friend. Kamalika, I have seen many lotus plants in this pond, Taro said. Some plants thought themselves to be too weak to handle the muddy currents and they didn't make it to the surface. Some plants that thought that they were not smart enough to outlast hungry animals and did not make it to the surface. Other plants worked and grew, reached up and believed they could, so they reached the surface and blossomed. I want you to know that if you focus and persevere through these muddy, dirty waters, you can make it to the top. It might be a challenge, but if you believe in yourself, you can reach the surface. Okay? Kamalika looked worried. How can I make it to the surface? I'm too small. If I get bigger, then I will be happy and reach the surface. You will get bigger. Can you be patient, my dear? Asked Taro. How can I grow to the surface? I'm too weak. If I get stronger, then I will be happy and reach the surface. Taro said, you will get stronger. Every time you make a mistake or fail, you will learn. Do you think you can learn? Looking afraid, Kamalika said, how can I learn? I'm not smart enough. Taro said, I'm here with you, and I can help you learn. But you said some plants were eaten and some were too weak. What if I'm one of those? Asked Kamalika. Taro looked down at Kamalika with a gentle face. Are you open to possibilities? I think so, stuttered Kamalika. Great. Let us sleep tonight and know that I will talk with you tomorrow about all the possibilities in your world, Kamalika. And both plants rested for the night. Good evening, ladies. My name is Ashley Angeline Kumar. I am the confidence coach. I'd like to ask you, are you open to possibilities? What you just heard was a short excerpt from my upcoming children's book, and it's called The Journey of the Little Lotus. The lotus flower is one of the most beautiful plants on earth, and it only grows in the mud. The plant has to grow through murky, muddy waters and reach above the surface in order to blossom. The muck and the mud represent our challenges, our sometimes unfair circumstances in life, unexpected and negative experiences, and obstacles. We all go through muck, but can you grow through it is the question. Now more than ever, youth and teens are relying on external validation and approval from others, and unfortunately, it's affecting their ability to choose happiness and internal power. How many likes did I get on that picture I posted on Insta or Snapchat? Who's commenting on my picture? I can't believe only 5 people watched my video. I thought it was a cool video. Gosh, that hurts. Statistics don't lie, ladies. 7 out of 10 girls believe they're not good enough in some way, be it looks, school, relationships, family, or home life. Being a teenager in today's world, in the constant media comparisons, cyberbullying, and image editing, and filter applications to make it seem like you got no problems when you got 99 is emotionally and mentally draining. Kids are not learning the critical life skills to live empowered, confident, resilient, and resourceful lives they deserve to live. Schools aren't teaching it, and most adults are trying to figure all this stuff out now. Instead, kids are becoming hyper-aware of their flaws and shortcomings. Their self-worth, self-esteem, and self-confidence is being impacted. I was one of those kids growing up who had very little self-worth and self-esteem. Today, I'm sitting here all put together as a life coach for kids. I empower girls to develop mindset techniques and tools to help them develop soaring self-esteem and sensational self-confidence. But I have gone through many times of darkness when I was stuck in the muddy, dirty waters for a very long time, when I was a child and a teenager, and even as a young woman as well. I was bullied as a child from the age of 4. I was called fatty and ashtray. I was often told I was useless. When I did use my voice to stand in my own power and speak my mind, I was told I was back talking and had to be put in my place. I developed anorexia and then bulimia as a teen. I became depressed, and I even ended up in the hospital twice after attempting to take my own life. So yes, I am a survivor of suicide because I had lost my self-worth. Now, I'm not here to tell you my story. I'm here to tell you to write your story differently and to notice the young girls around you, maybe your daughters, maybe your cousins, maybe your friends. Notice them, hear them, and help them write their story differently too. As humans, we develop our core beliefs about ourselves and the world around us by age 7. You see, we all have these things in our brain called neural pathways or neural connections. These are connections between neurons in our brains. So I want to show you this. Think of these purple balls right here. Hopefully you can see it. So these purple balls as neurons. These are your experiences, the thoughts you have, and the feelings you have. And then this green line right here, think of this as the connection. This is the connection between one thought to an experience to a memory, and a memory to a feeling, and so on. And we have a big web of these types of connections in our brain. When you do something for the first time, it's going to feel uncomfortable, icky, not so fantastic. You might be feeling scared and anxious. But the more you do something, the more you practice it, the stronger your neural connections for that thing becomes. Our habits are created by strong neural pathways or neural connections. And one of our habits is self-talk, the things we say and the things we think to ourselves about ourselves. Negative self-talk is a killer of self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-worth. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? And what do you say? My nose is too big. My hair is too frizzy. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. That kind of stuff. This is called negative self-talk. Now, you all are here for the word self-care or the word self-love. And now you know, ladies, it's not just about bubble baths and manicures, right? The most important aspects of self-love and self-care is what you say to yourself about yourself. What you say to yourself is more important than what anybody else says to you or about you. So a few years ago, I was teaching a dance class to a group of 6 to 10-year-old girls. And I wanted to show them the power of their mind. So I gave them an example of being bullied. I said, what if a bully comes up to you and says, oh my God, you are so ugly. Why do you even bother coming to school? That sounds harsh, but this happens every day. So I asked the girls, what can you do right then and there in that moment when the bully intimidates you? What can you do? They responded with, tell an adult, tell a teacher, tell someone who's older than you. And I said, yes, that's important. Even before that, when the bully says something mean to you, what can you do right then and there in that moment? Can you control what the bully says? The girls responded and they said, no. What can you do? I asked. The girls did not know. They didn't know how to answer that question. They were confused. So I said, what about this? What if in your mind you say to yourself, I'm beautiful? One of the girls twisted her face and asked me all confused, you mean like give yourself a compliment? Yes, I said loudly. And all the girls twisted their faces in confusion like, what? I asked them, does it feel weird to give yourself a compliment? Does it feel uncomfortable? Every girl in the room said, yes, it feels weird to give myself a compliment. It feels weird and uncomfortable. So I want you to think about that. Every girl in the room. So I don't know, how many of us are there here now? 8 of us, right? And even when you go to an event, anywhere you go, how many beautiful women do you see around you? Okay. Right now, ladies and girls, I want you to, well, there's no girls here, ladies, I want you to give yourself a compliment. You can think it in your head. You can even say it out loud, but do it right now. If when you give yourself a compliment in your head right now, if it feels uncomfortable or weird, that's totally normal. When you haven't done something before, you have no neural connections for it in your mind. Your brain literally doesn't know how to think about it. So you've heard of something called the comfort zone. Everyone's heard of the comfort zone. Our comfort zone is a mental boundary we create in our minds about what we think we can or cannot do because of how we feel. So if it feels weird, we might not do it. And that's simply because our neural pathway for that thing is not strong enough. But after that, the more you do it, the stronger the neural connection in your brain becomes for positive self-talk, for saying supportive things to yourself about yourself. It will become a habit. Most of us right now, we tend to have a habit of self-criticizing, not being so kind to ourselves. And this leads to low self-esteem and low self-worth. Here's what's great about what you're learning right now. Before today, you might not have known about neural connections, or maybe you did, I don't know. You might not have known about the comfort zone, maybe you didn't, I don't know, and self-talk. But there's kids out there who don't know about this stuff. But for some reason, you were not feeling totally happy or as happy as you could be, and you haven't figured out why you feel down sometimes, or why you feel so uncomfortable when you do something new, or why you get anxiety. The thing is, we know we're feeling this way, but we don't know why, right? So when someone says something mean to you or about you, you get upset or you go into victim mode instead of standing in your power, but you don't know why. It's because of your neural pathways. You've got to practice creating strong pathways for the things you do want and start weakening the connections that are not supportive to you, like negative self-talk or playing the role of a victim. Standing in your power means you get to choose how you want to feel and what actions you want to take. So I don't know if anyone here has been bullied or cyberbullied before, or maybe you have a child who's been bullied or cyberbullied. So here's another example of positive self-talk that you can share with your child or another young person when they're being cyberbullied, okay? So let's say someone comments on my picture and says, yo, I think you should crawl back into that cave that you crawled out from because that much ugly isn't good for the world. That's really mean, okay? But this stuff happens every day. So I'm gonna stand in my power here, ladies, and here's my response. Oh, hi, thanks for commenting on my picture. You have an interesting perspective about me. My worth and my beauty is determined by me, no one else. I'm perfectly imperfect the way I am, and that's totally cool with me. Oh, and by the way, I think you're super pretty the way you are too. Heart emoji, okay? When you stand in your own power, no one can bring you down. Remember that what you say to yourself is more important than what anyone else says about you or to you. Fighting fire with fire begets more fire. And I want to have a nice cold ice cream and a happy day. I don't want to deal with fire. So when you lift up another girl or woman, you lift yourself up too. That's the power of standing in your own power, and it can be contagious. All right, ladies, that was my spiel. I'm very happy to present today, and I hope you got some golden nuggets to take with you. But before I shut down really quickly, I want you to take a pen and a paper, if you have one close to you, and write this down. My self-love mantra. So I'm going to grab my paper, and I'm going to write it down. My self-love mantra. Mantra is spelled M-A-N-T-R-A. And then I'd like you to write down 2 sentences that are all about you loving yourself. Something that lifts you up. Just 2 short sentences or 2 words, 2 phrases. Okay, go ahead, write that down. Self-love. So we're going to write it down. And then we're going to do this collectively as a group. Take the fingers of your right hand and place the fingers on your throat. And then take your left hand and place it on your abdomen. Now take a deep breath in. Exhaling. And all at once, we're going to read aloud our 2 sentences. We're all going to do it all at once collectively, okay? Let's just go for it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I am the best person. I am worthy.
I am creative.
Beautiful. Now I'd like you to stick those 2 sentences up that piece of paper, or you can make it nice and fancy. I can even send you my self-love, and you can stick it up somewhere where you can see it every day. But when you do, it's not just about sticking it up somewhere and looking at it. It's about visualizing. What does that mean to you? Visualizing means play a movie in your head about what you're saying. When you practice shifting from negative self-talk into positive self-talk and make it a habit, you go from what seems like a hopeless pit to a world of possibilities. My name is Ashley Angeline Kumar. I'm the confidence coach. I've got amazing coaching programs that are transforming the lives of kids and their families. And because of what's happening with COVID-19, I actually am offering a program for kids for 75% off. It's going to be starting next week. It's an upcoming online group coaching program. And it's called Inner Power: How to Develop Integrity, Self-Respect, Make Good Decisions, and Manage Peer Pressure with Ease and Grace. And the program is for ages 8 to 12 years old. And I can send a little bit more information, put a link there for you. But it'll be 75% off what I normally charge because of what's happening. It's something I would not ever do. But I know that all of us are facing some challenges right now. So I'm going to put that information into the chat box, okay? And also, I'd love your feedback on my talk. Thanks, ladies. Thank you to Fatima. Thank you to Cindy. And thank you to everybody who's here.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you.
That was excellent.
Thanks, Ashley.
On tonight. Okay, well, once again, we have Fatima, who has 100,000 hours over a decade of providing leadership and community support
not 100.
services. 100,000!
No,
oh my
no,
gosh.
it's not 100,000, it's 10,000.
Oh my goodness, but it feels like way over decades. I know you look young. Providing leadership and community support services, working in partnership with several nonprofit agencies. Her portfolio is endless, as we all know her, which includes anti-bullying campaigns, engaging student advocacies, facilitating leadership programs for new immigrant refugees, and empowering workshops for young women, and working towards ending homelessness. Fatima is truly making a positive change in lives and their communities. Let's hear from fabulous Fatima once again.
To talk a little bit about self-care, and I actually think Ashley did a fantastic job of setting the groundwork for me, but I really loved one of the things she said is, self-care is not just getting a manicure, pedicure, or a spa night, and it's so much more than that. It's about what we say to ourselves, and the constant voice that goes on in the back of our mind. So one of the things I like to start with is talk about why is it that women need empowerment, or in what ways do I feel that women aren't empowered. So as you guys know, I work in the area of homelessness and the homeless prevention, and I've spent some time now working with women who have become homeless as a result of fleeing abuse. But I've also worked with, new immigrant and refugee youth. I've done some translation work for detained and undetained refugees. And I've also done a lot of work around anti-bullying for kids in school. And I found that I call myself a feminist and an advocate for social justice. And I believe that women are underprivileged in many ways. For one, women make up 2/3 of the world's illiterate population. Women also are far more likely to be victims of domestic violence and abuse. Women are far more likely to make less money. In fact, when it comes to work, we're the first one to kind of stop and think before we say yes to promotion. We are the first to take time off for work. Take time off from work, whether it's like for family reasons, to take care of a family member. We also tend to lose income because of, childbirth and all those things that come with being a woman. And we also have a longer life than men. So women more often than not outlive their income as well. And, April's going to be talking about that in a little bit. But, we recently had a case in UK where women took it to court saying women's pension should be higher because of all these reasons, where, we earn less money and we live longer. And now, especially women that were born in around 50s, as soon as it came time for their retirement, the government kind of pushed their retirement age further. And so that was an entire year of not being very financially prepared. But the courts sort of denied that claim, and they said the way the government is treating women is exactly equal to how men are being treated. And I really like to challenge the word equality and, talk about equality versus equity, and talk about how, you can't have, to treat two very different people with different needs exactly the same. Like, that is not what equality is. What we need is equity, where we are empowering people with specific needs that they have to be able to live a fulfilling life. I do this. I actually found this activity online, and now I do it in a lot of my workshops, where I'll take Band-Aids to my leadership workshops, and I will, ask the kids or the women or whoever I'm doing the workshop for. I tell them, pretend a certain part of your body is injured. It could be anything. And they come up with all kinds of interesting things. Some of them are like, my heart is injured. Others are like, my finger's injured, my knees hurt, whatever else. And then I go around and I put the same Band-Aid on everybody's fingers. And then I ask them, well, did that help you with your injury? And they're like, no, my knee was injured and you put a Band-Aid on my finger. That doesn't help. And I'm like, exactly. Right? I mean, actually, before that, I asked them, I say, why didn't it help? But I gave you all the exact same Band-Aid, and I gave you all Band-Aid on the exact same finger. Why did it not help? Right? Because that part wasn't injured, right? So anyway, I can see the frustration in the room. But I think that's how we need to see equality. And there have been so many studies that say when women are empowered, when women have more income in their hands, when women have more education, when women have more opportunities, our countries do better economically, environmentally. Women also, on a personal level, women get more decision-making power at home as well. And, in general, it increases household income as well. For every year that a girl is educated, it increases the chances of her income going up by 10 to 20% down the road. So that's why I believe very strongly in women's empowerment. And I also believe that as women, we are conditioned to put ourselves last. And we are conditioned to put ourselves before everybody else. It's always the kids, and it's the family, it's the friend. In fact, I find that a lot of women sometimes don't even have an identity outside of their family, right? And the concept of having hobbies or their own life and their own passion outside of their kids is just a remote concept to them, right? And that's what I want to change, and I want to help women with that. And there are many ways of doing that, of course. However, I think that self-care and positive self-talk is really important. I also think it starts with, there's a quote by Ben Franklin. It's called, early to bed, early to rise makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? And it's a very popular quote. But also, actually, this book that I'm reading right now by Tim Ferriss, he bases his entire book, it's called Tools of Titans. He bases his entire book on these three concepts and talks about how the pillar to a successful and fulfilling life, there are three pillars. One is your health. Without your health, you don't have anything else. The other is wealth, so your financial independence. And then the third one is wisdom, which is what are you doing for your own personal growth? What are you doing to learn more, to better, not just formally educate yourself, but, grow as a person. And so in that sense, I find that self-care is all of that. It's about taking care of our health, and it's why I joined the Total Makeover Challenge as well. One of the ways, and I am a very strategy-focused person, so I like to talk a few different ways that women can actually make the changes in their lives that they need and actually create those changes. Because what happens is, how many women do we know, just by a raise of hand, how many women do we know that are like on some kind of a different diet every month? you know, basically I am seeing some head nods, but you know, it's always, or every month we tell ourselves, you know, oh, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym, you know, 3 times a week. Oh, well, it didn't work out this week, I'll just do it next week. What we don't realize is success in life is built on smaller victories, right? And confidence is built on small victories. The confidence, the self-esteem, the self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is your own belief in your ability to do something. It is built by stacking smaller victories on top of each other. So when we make a promise to ourselves and we break our own promise, we think, oh, it's just a small thing. It was just a day at the gym that I missed. Or I know I said I'd take a spa day, even if that's your self-care day. Or I know I said I'll meditate. It just, you know, life got busy. Every single time we don't keep a promise to ourselves, our mind is actually, our brain stops believing us. So the next time we really, really want to commit to that change, what does our subconscious rely on? It is going to rely on the history of how we've always done things, right? And immediately, and that's where a lot of negative self-talk starts to also build up, where, you know, we don't keep our promises to ourselves, we don't prioritize ourselves. But then when we decide to do it, that voice in the back of our head goes, oh, that's not really going to happen. And before we even know it, we've already talked ourselves out of a really important positive change on our lives. And it can also sometimes reflect in other ways, like so for example, how we see ourselves. Like if we don't create that self-respect within ourselves, other people, how can we expect other people to show respect to us, right? So being strategy focused, I have a few ways that I help women and people in general with achieving their goals and setting good goals and reaching all their goals. So one of my thing is, and a lot of people are going to say, oh my gosh, you're crazy. But I'm going to say this, one goal at a time, only one goal at a time. Because when you have 3 or 5 or 6 goals, you're scattering your energy. And here's the thing, there's physical energy and there's also mental energy. Like as an entrepreneur, a lot of people try to sort of pull me into their money making schemes, whatever's happening. And they're like, oh, it's not going to take a lot of effort on your time. And I'm like, it may not take time out of my day, but it's going to take my mental energy. My mind, instead of being focused only on my business, is now focused on these side hustles more than it is. I don't have to do anything out of my routine, but my brain is already scattered, right? And so we really have to pay attention to that. And so the fewer goals we have, the smaller to-do list we have, the more successful we will be at reaching those. And we need to start with easier things. Okay, how about I don't hit the snooze button in the morning? That can be your goal, you know? And for some people, that may actually be a really big goal, right? So setting smaller goals and setting only one major goal at a time. For me, every month, I set 3 goals. One is in the area of health, one is in the area of, you know, wealth or financial goals, and then one is in the area of overall health, wealth, and wisdom. So personal growth and learning and knowledge and the books I read. However, out of those 3, there's always one primary. Like right now for me, I feel like my health has always been neglected. And I've had personal traumas all through my life that I didn't even know I had until I started doing the Total Makeover Challenge. So one goal at a time. And then the second step is to completely surround yourself with that goal, right? So when we talk about mindset, right, we've heard the saying, you are an average of 5 people you spend most time with. Now think about this. We are in a social media world now. We're in a globalized community. So the people that you surround with aren't just your family members. They aren't just friends you have coffee with. That is every single person who's on your Facebook, every single person who shows up on your feed, every single notification, every single Facebook group you joined. So I want you to just think about how much clutter is on your social media that is impacting your mindset. So when you set a goal, let's say your goal is, I'm going to find, let's say your goal is to create more supportive systems, or to pick a more tangible goal. Let's say you're looking for a better job, or you want to improve your business. Let's take entrepreneurship actually. Let's say you want to start your own business and you want it to be successful. What you should really do is the first thing you should do is clean up your social media, right? Unsubscribe to all those channels that don't help you with your goal. Follow all those pages that don't help you with your goal. Get rid of these toxic people in your life. They're putting other things in your mind. If you want to work on your health, start following groups around health and wellness, and make sure they're not toxic, make sure they're positive and encouraging. But the YouTubers that you follow, all these things. For me, I go through every 6 months, I go through a cleanup phase where I'm like, what is the most important goal in my life right now? And I will change my entire social media around that. The people I follow, the words that I'm hearing, the words that you're hearing, whether it's audiobooks, podcasts, books you're reading, family, friends, social media posts you're reading, every little thing has way more impact on our lives than we ever think. If there's anything that you really want to change about yourself, consider following only YouTubers that sort of are in line with that type of thinking, and see how quickly it will change. And then put accountability systems. And when I say accountability system, I'm not sure I believe in the concept of accountability partner anymore, because people are busy, they have their lives. If you have a friend who is going to hold you accountable, they'll maybe hold you accountable for a week, 2 weeks, then they're going to forget about you. It's up to you to build all these systems in place to make sure that you're reaching those goals. So for me, this year, my goal is to prioritize my health. So here's what I did. First of all, I unsubscribed from all the YouTube channels that didn't reach that goal, and I subscribed to some of the health and fitness related ones. Same with Facebook. I joined the fitness related groups. But I also joined the Total Makeover Challenge because I knew that's going to be a weekly commitment for 18 weeks, which is what I need to build the right habits. I also signed up for a resistance training course, which was 6 weeks, 12 sessions, to give me all the tools I need to be able to build my own workouts and things like that. I started working with my naturopath on my nutrition, and I started building this community of support through fans that I could fall back on, who could, check in with me and be accountable to me. So pretty much, whatever your goal is, you want to surround yourself with it to a point that everywhere you look, that's all you see. And I guarantee you are going to reach your goals so fast. It's crazy. And so, yeah. So do you guys have any questions? If you have any questions, please shoot.
Well said, I must say. Any comments or concerns or questions, ladies?
I admire your passion and the way you delivered, the way you can articulate, and just the energy that you bring.
Thank you.
Thank you. She definitely does. If there's nobody else, I have our final speaker. Anyone else?
Really good point about cleaning up one's social media. I don't. It's like you follow the same people for years, and then you unfollow the ones that you think aren't very healthy for inside. But yeah, I really like your thing about cleaning it up and changing it around every 6 months. That's useful. I'm going to go through mine.
Oh, I love how excited you are. That sounds so lovely. And like you, I'm not on social media, so it really helps to be very super laser focused. That's for sure.
Well, I'm on social media a lot, and I believe there's pros and cons to both. I think a lot of what Fatima was saying, what you're doing is fantastic in terms of empowering women, simply because we didn't get that as children. Now as adults, we're trying to figure it out. And so we definitely align. I'm just working with kids and you're working with a little bit of an older population. And how she said to surround yourself with whatever it is that are your goals. There's a really concrete reason why that works. And that there's a really concrete reason, because I'm sure all of us have put up vision boards and goals and notepads and sticky, all those kinds of, and then sometimes they don't work, right? And then we get upset and we go into these cycles of using them and then using them, letting go. But there's actually, like you said, surround yourself with whatever it is that's going to get you to that goal. And it's called your reticular activating system. Big word. I'm not going to go into it right now. But this concept of seeing the things that your brain needs to get you to your goal, there's an actual reason why that happens in your brain. And the cool thing is I get to teach kids about it. And it's mind opening when you can learn the how and the why things work like this, like surrounding yourself with. So even if you don't know what reticular activating system is, do it. Surround yourself with the goals, because there is a real concrete reason why your brain will get you to your goals. Even if you're not doing affirmations or whatnot, but you're seeing the information around you, at least using your senses that way, you will get to your goals, as long as you said, staying focused, doing the one goal at a time in the different areas of your life, because you're surrounding your focus on that. So great job. We're definitely aligned in terms of what message we're trying to get out there to women and girls. So
I didn't know there was an official term for it. So
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Actually, could we take it?
What?
Could we actually take your course even though we're not 8 to 12?
Absolutely. I've actually offered it to adults, but I didn't have any takers. I think simply because it is geared towards.
I'm sold. I'm your first taker.
I swear to God, ladies, when I've done many, many courses over my lifetime since I was 19. When I saw this curriculum, I was like, what the heck? I'm like, it's so clear cut and laid out. I loved it. And yeah, you can take my course for sure.
All right. If we don't have any comments, I would like our final speaker to come up. Anybody else? Our final speaker is Ngalot. She's a financial educator who is passionate to share, inspire, motivate, and educate people on money matters. She specializes in transforming people's financial wellness through financial education. So with no more delays, April, can you come on?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Right, awesome. So thank you so much. Sorry I barged in late. I was actually doing some Zoom meetings with my clients, but I was able to catch on with what Fatima was saying. And I definitely agreed with every single bit she said, especially what Ashley was saying about the reticular activating system. I recently bought a new car, and all I can see outside in the road is like this red car, and I'm like, does nobody nobody drives a red car, or like, why do I see it everywhere? But I just realized that, oh, it's because it's around me. I drive it every day, and I just start to notice it more. So the same thing with your goals and what you want to happen in your life. Even when you don't have affirmations, you have it all around you, and definitely your brain will pick up things and moments and conversations and people that you want to be able to meet. And I think my connection with Fatima was actually because of that. I was seeking someone to connect to. I was telling myself that day, I want to connect with someone who loves to educate like I do. And I was listening to a podcast. I listened to her, and I reached out to her, and here we are. So really funny how the universe works, honestly.
Welcome. And you know, what you attract is what you get.
Absolutely. And you ladies are such an amazing bunch. I've only met you for like this, met you, not actually met you, virtually met all of you. But I love this, the vibe already. And I can see that all of us really wants to take a step forward to really take self-care seriously. So my topic isn't really sexy. I wish it was, like confidence and empowerment and workouts and fitness. I'd like to call this mental fitness. And you know what? let's hear some fun facts about women. We're a very powerful group, no matter where we are in the world. Women do outlive men. You're right. We live to about 86 and a half. Sometimes I think we live to about 90 or 99. That's not a statistic though. That's my own statistic. Men live to be about 83 and a half. So we definitely do outlive men. More and more women are stepping up in the workforce now, especially in business. So about 40%, almost half of the population is women working. And even where I work right now, in the firm that I currently am involved in our office, you can really see the moment you walk in, predominantly the leaders are actually all women. And it's pretty amazing, the shift that's happening, that more and more women are taking control of their lives. And about 70 to 80% of the worldwide population, that's women actually controlling consumer purchases. Anything from groceries, gifts, clothing, anything. So we control a lot of the money's spending. So you know what, if the world is changing very, very fast, you can look a few years back and it was so weird for even women to work. We were just at home, but now look at us. We're coaches and we're educators and we're hardworking women out there. And as you can see, especially in this day and age, we definitely have major decision making when it comes to money. But like what Fatima was saying, I really do agree with that. Maybe the way we see our money maybe is the deep-rooted issue. I wouldn't really call it an issue. I would say it's kind of the way we were brought up. Maybe it doesn't matter where we are, like what culture we come from, but if you guys can agree with me that when we earn money or when we have a little bit, when it's somebody's birthday, do you agree that when you go to the store and you're thinking, oh, my mom would like this, oh, my sister would like this, my friend would like this, and sometimes we always put ourselves last. Is that true? Especially when we're making purchases, and especially major financial decisions like, oh, let me ask my husband first, or let me ask my boyfriend, or let me ask my spouse, or I don't know if my kids want that, or I don't know if my grandma or my grandpa would agree with that, even though we're full-fledged adults that can make perfectly fine decisions, which is a little bit strange. Anyhow, it's this gene, whatever you call it, of us wanting to take care of others. That's not the issue, but really that's kind of what's stopping us from really being able to take control of our lives. And one step of that is our financial health. And this is my year. Like 2020 for me is the perfect vision. As you can see, I don't have perfect vision. I don't mean it in that way. I don't mean it literally. I don't think I'll ever have perfect vision. I love wearing glasses, but what I mean is, this is my year for me to build abundance. That is my word of the year, is abundance. And abundance is financial abundance, to be specific, because last year, 2019 for me was my year of really fixing my mental health and my physical health. And I've achieved that. And as what Fatima said, this is my year for financial health. And I'm really happy that I got to connect with all of you to really share some things and some concepts that I share with my class. As Cindy had mentioned, I've been in the financial industry now for about 7 years. And all I've been doing is teaching families about financial literacy. I actually have a button here that says I'm in a national financial literacy campaign. And my firm's goal and my team's goal is to really educate families about these concepts, to take care of ourselves first. And I know as women, that might be a hard pill to swallow. When was the last time you said to yourself, let me take a day to just plan my goals, especially financial goals? When was the last time we did that? And ask yourselves this question too. When was the last time you probably planned a grocery list for your whole family? Probably you do that more often than actually planning your own goals. And sometimes that's why we don't hit our financial goals, because you see, if we make such vague goals like, I want to make more money, if I gave you $1, you have more money. You have to be a little bit more specific than that. Or you say, I want to pay off my debt. And your mind says, okay, let's slash off $1 off of your debt. That's good, right? So we have to be very specific with our goals, and we have to know and take that mental and physical decision that, you know what, I'm going to take control of my money. But in order for us to understand that, we have to understand first how money works. Now, there's a myriad of different things to know. I think the financial industry is one of the biggest industries and one of the most complicated industries out there. But I do believe that when it comes to personal finances and how you handle it, it can be pretty simple. So here's just a few concepts that I share with my class. Of course, if you want to know more, I offer free classes right now on Zoom because of everything that's happening. So I love Zoom, thank God for that. But you know, the one thing I always tell my clients is this, is especially us as women, we love helping others. And especially me, I always forget that. Like, I love helping others. But then, you know, in the airplane, when something happens and what is that thing?
Oxygen mask.
Thank you.
You put it on yourself first, please.
Thank you, Cindy. So you put it on yourself first. But our initial instinct might be, especially if we have children, let me put it on my son first, or let me put it on my daughter first. No, girl, you're gonna die. If you don't put it on yourself first, you're gonna die. In the same thing with money, we have to put ourselves first, not in a selfish way, but put ourselves first. That make that decision to really understand yourself first, help yourself first financially before you can help others financially. And the very simple concept I always teach my clients is this. When we get paid, what is the first thing that we like to do? Maybe pay bills? Yeah.
Nowadays, pay myself.
Oh, dang, Cindy, you took my answer. Absolutely true. Cindy is right. But you know what? Before I learned this concept and started to really, you know, take control of my finances, the first thing I'd love to do when I get paid is run to the mall. Well, not right now, but before, you know, run to the mall and like, let me see what I can stand. Let me see what new jacket I could have. And speaking of like, you know, spring cleaning and revamping, I think that not just cleaning up your own mental mind and your, you know, these lovely little things that you follow on social media, but I like to always continually do physical cleaning as well. What I mean by that, room cleaning, like clearing out like clothes I don't wear anymore and like stuff you don't use anymore, because sometimes you just hoard a lot of things that you don't ever use. So, you know, clean that. So anyhow, so that's what I used to do. Is I loved spending money and I didn't know what to do after. Usually I had nothing left, maybe $10, and I'd wait until the next payday until I could do the same process all over again. So as what Cindy said, paying yourself first. Which one do you think is more important? Your Netflix bill or your BC Hydro or yourself? Probably.
Yourself?
Me.
I love that. Like, Fatima was like, yourself? Just a little bit like doubtful there.
The hydro. Right up there. Don't want to sit in the dark with myself.
Don't worry, Trudeau's gonna come and help us. Don't worry. He has like an $82 billion plan. But anyway, it's paying yourself first. Ashley says trick question. I know. But treat it like a family financial bill and pay it yourself first. So doesn't it make sense to pay yourself first for your financial well-being instead of paying everybody else first? And Cindy's absolutely right. Pretend every $1,000 that you earn, can you spare $100 of that to yourself? Or even a simpler concept is this. What is like the minimum wage right now is $13, and let's just say minus taxes and everything, for easy calculations, $10 an hour. Let's say you work 8 hours a day. Instead of spending $800, is it okay? Oh, not $800, $80. So is it okay if you put that first hour of your job to yourself? I think that's doable, right? Because honestly, that first hour of ourselves can be easily spent on, oh, let me grab Tim Hortons, or let me grab some Starbucks, or let me grab some Freshie if you really want to lose weight, like I did before. So it's so easy to spend because honestly, spending is a habit, but so is saving. Just like what Fatima said, when you're the type of person before that doesn't work out, it takes a bit of time to break that habit. Maybe you have, when you promised yourself that you were going to work out in the morning, and you keep hitting the snooze button, then honestly, your brain and your body will say, well, I don't trust this girl anymore. So your self-integrity is broken because you keep breaking the promises to yourself. And it's not any different from saving, because if we keep telling ourselves, I'm going to save this month, and at the end of the day, you break that promise, it's like working out. It's like, oh, she's not going to save anyway, so let's not do it. So making it a priority and putting it and paying yourself first. That means if we're earning about $3,000, about $300 a month to save for ourselves. If possible, save 15%, 20%, 30%, 40%, or more. If that is not a possibility at the moment, start somewhere, maybe 5%. So instead of saving, so let's say, for example, for every $1,000, if $100 is not possible, start with 50. If that's not possible, start with 25. But it's the consistency that matters. Because honestly, I would rather have somebody start saving $25 a month consistently, rather than someone that saves $500 a month and then they stop, and then $600 a month here and then they stop, because it's inconsistent, because money needs time for it to accumulate. So if I have that client that saves away $25 or $50 a month consistently, and if their income increases a little bit or their situation changes, it's not going to be difficult to tell them, okay, let's push it up to $50 a month. How about $100 a month, $150, $200, $300 a month, until it becomes more of a consistent effort for them to save more for their future. So just that simple idea of paying yourself first. And with that amount that you put away for yourself every month, there also has to be a reason and a purpose to it. So that's number 2. The number 1 lesson I can impart with all of you in this short time frame is paying yourself first. And number 2 is actually knowing where that money goes. Because a lot of times I sit down with my clients and I ask them, okay, do you save money? And they say, yeah. And then the next thing I ask them is, what is it for? And then they look at me and like, I don't know. I have 10K, 14K, whatever K sitting in my account, and I don't know what it's doing. And I was like, great, let's start there. What would you like in your life? So this obviously takes a little bit more of time, but this is the thing that I actually spend more time with my clients, is actually understanding, what do you want to do in your life? Maybe it's, okay, April, I actually want to pay off my debt, which is maybe for a lot of Canadians right now, especially. Or maybe I want to save up for a home. I want to save up for this. I want to save up for my kids, or whatever it may be. So whatever their goals are, then we can, let's say, for example, you can dedicate 20, 30, whatever percentage of your income every month, and we can split that in different aspects where it will go. But one of the few things that is very important to understand first, to build a proper foundation, is to protect your most important asset. And actually, this is going to be another trick question. So what is, to you, honestly, what do you think is your most important asset?
Me.
The mind.
Me.
Yes, absolutely. And what can we do that's crucial right now that drives most things? We say that thing is not everything, but it can buy a nice yacht. So that's money, isn't it? So we are our most important assets, because without us, we cannot earn income. It is our ability to generate income that is so important. And I don't like this moment that's happening right now, this issue, this pandemic, but it really emphasizes the importance of protecting your income. Because what if something were to happen? And I always tell that to my clients, but the thing is, it's like, oh yeah, I'm Superman, nothing can happen. Yeah, nothing's gonna happen to you, but you don't know what the world's gonna do to you. So you have to be prepared, right? So things like disability, we never know. Like, what if I walk down in my door one day and I slip and I fell and I can't work anymore? Or what about health problems? Knock on wood, what if something in your health prevents you from working, or worse, premature death? There's a lot of GoFundMe pages I see online when somebody unfortunately passes away, just because of improper planning. So all of these things is protecting your most important asset, which is your ability to generate income. Number 2 is to manage your debt. Of course, if we don't pay off that debt, then we'll just keep paying it forever. And instead of using that money to save, then we're just using it to pay interest. And there's a lot of strategies with that. That is one of the most used services in our platform, is the debt management services. And after that is building an emergency fund. And how important could that be right now? And honestly, like, I love Trudeau because he really took a step forward to help Canadians in need, but also it begs me to ask, how many years were these people working, or how many months of consistent income? And if they're having troubles right now, even just to pay their next month's bill, that must mean that without their paycheck, they're just living off of one paycheck to the other. What does that tell you about the Canadians right now? Apart from the pandemic, I think that what this really shows us is we are not prepared financially. And this whole situation is just emphasizing the fact that if anything as delicate as this happens, then it's not even anybody's fault. It's just, it's just a virus going around that prevents us from doing most of the things that we're doing. But even if a person doesn't have the next month or the next 3 months worth of expenses, what does that tell you? And what does that really emphasize? And doesn't that beg you to ask, where is their money going? Where is my money going? Where is our money going? And that just really surprised me, is that, man, if nobody has that much of savings, it means that we're really financially in trouble, that we really need to prioritize ourselves first, even just a little bit. If we can't afford to have 3 months worth of emergency fund right now, we can start with 500. We can start with 1,000 and actually keep it there. And obviously for the long term, investing and saving for the long run. So I could say a lot of things about these topics, but really that's just what I wanted to impart with all of you is, number one, pay yourself first. And number two, have a purpose of where your money is going, and always be mindful of protecting your ability to generate income, building up emergency fund, paying off debt, and saving and investing for the long run. So there's so much more things I can talk to you guys about. We actually hold 5 workshops about these topics, and I go for an hour and a half. So obviously I can go on a lot about these topics, but if there's anything I'd like for women especially to really understand, is just to understand and to know that it's not a bad thing to prioritize yourself first, because honestly, if we prioritize ourselves first and actually understand how money works and take control of our finances, we're actually able to better take care of the people around us. So we're not working from a half percentage. We're actually working from 100% better person because we took control of our finances. So I open it up for questions or anything.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something, actually. Apart from, we should tell our children this, like right from when they're young. I didn't know to do that because I didn't do that. I wasn't taught to do that, but I think we can do that because you know better, you do better, right? So I think it's good. And also, I just wanted to say something about if you're going to put money aside, I think you should also, when you're young, start a life insurance, because when you're young, it's very cheap and it doesn't get any more expensive. So if you can get it for $10, $20 something a month and do it for the rest of your life, and that really, really helps. In the end, it helps your family and it helps your peace of mind. So you're actually doing that for yourself as well. And yeah, I just wanted to put out there for you younger people, start now because it's much cheaper. The older you get, it's very hard to afford. So that's my 10 cents worth.
Absolutely true. Actually, I've had a lot of clients approaching me, especially right now in this craze, that they're realizing that I actually don't live forever, and there's actually a lot of stuff happening in this world that I do need this. And life insurance is actually one of those topics that is not talked about very much, and but I do believe that it's very important. And as an advisor, I've been in this industry for 7 years, and last year I actually got to witness I got to witness actually paying out a death claim, and it was one of the toughest times ever. But I do see the importance, and I do see that how powerful it is to just aid the family in such an emotional time. Because I mean, I'm going to be very direct here. Would you rather spend 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever bucks a month for 10, 20 years? Or when something happens to you or your family members, would you rather burden your family and friends to set up a GoFundMe for your behalf? I know it's very grim, but I see that so much. Every time I see a GoFundMe, then I think, oh man, somebody didn't buy an insurance policy. And it's not sexy.
People don't want to talk about it either, and it's funny. I try and tell my children that they don't want to talk about it. That my husband and I talk about it freely. We have no problems with it, and with one of our insurances, our funeral will be paid for. So then the kids don't have to worry about that either. They just make a phone call, done. And so things like that you don't think about when you're younger. But it's nice to be able to tell your kids so that they can start thinking about it, whether they want to hear it or not.
Yeah.
I think it's important to start from a very young age to start to teach kids about money, because those skills go with them for the rest of their life. Whereas if you've not been taught about money for 20 years and 25 years and suddenly I should say 18, because at 18, you automatically get a credit card sent to in the mailbox. Everybody knows that a credit card comes to you for $1,000 limit, and now suddenly you're responsible for $1,000, but you've not been taught about money. That's hard to do, to try to go through that whole process of accruing debt and then trying to pay it off and then dealing with that for the rest of your life. I think it's important, like Ali said, you didn't talk about it. It wasn't really done. And I think a lot of parents, people, they had good intentions with it, that they didn't want to burden their children with these thoughts. Let them be kids was the idea. But kids grow up into adults, and we need our adults to be empowered with what to do with their lives and their money, because money is part of it. So having these conversations with your kids from a younger age, I think it's crucial. My daughter's 3 years old, and she has a funds, and I'm starting to teach her how to use it. She's only 3, and I don't think people actually think about teaching their toddler about money. But you know what? She took this $4 one day out of her piggy bank. So she had the experience of putting the money in and then taking the money out, just like we do every day when we make a purchase. And the purchase she made was to go on this train ride. And she did it once, and she still talks about it. So that's already training her brain to understand the give and take of money and how important it is that you have to give it to get it.
In school, they had bank books.
Right.
We'd fill out the bank book, and then we'd put the money in. I didn't learn much from it, but that's... I was given a book called The Richest Man in Babylon.
I've heard of it.
I still have that book in my
years ago, and
library.
That's how I learned a little bit more about handling money and saving 2%. And
yeah,
I've heard really good things about that book.
Yeah, you should read it, Fatima.
I'll lend it to you. Ashley, I have a question. How does your daughter earn the money in the piggy bank?
So we don't give her, I don't believe in allowances. We don't even call things chores. Some people say we're going to pay our kids for doing chores. We don't even call it chores, things like that. These are gifts. So gifts from other people for her birthday or for Christmas. Like my grandparents, they don't buy gifts anymore. They're very old. So they give money. It's something like that. So we have them give the money to her, so she actually holds it in her hand. We don't just tuck it away in an envelope and put it in our purse or whatever. She actually gets it in her hand, and we explain to her that this is this amount of money, and then you can put this into your little piggy bank. It's for funds, and you can put it in there, and that's how she gets the money right now at this age. But cool. I will say, I'm already teaching her the entrepreneurship skills. We are going to set up a lemonade stand in the summertime. She'll be almost 4, and we will start that process too. So yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to go back to what April, I really loved your talk. I grew up personally with a dad who was very financially illiterate. I was raised by my dad from 12 on up. So I've seen, been aware, and I think it's made me more aware. And as an adult, I married and I was a housewife. I married a man who was very traditional. And I felt that, like, when I read that you're going to speak about women's financial independence, it got me. My husband, he since had an injury. It'll be 2 years in July, and my husband will never earn wages. He will never be able to work or support or do anything of that nature. So now it's on me. And I haven't, you went through your cloud of depression, but it's also a great responsibility as a woman to be able to not have to rely on a man. And I don't like being a dependent woman. My husband struggled, but he didn't want me to work because it was a shame, or if I worked like a low job. And anyway, so now I feel happier to try. I've since made a small business startup for a cleaning and care company, and I work for another company, and I'm happy to try that, right? And I have 2 little sons. My sons are ages 2 and ages 4, just to kind of piggyback off of what Ashley had said. I also have a piggy bank with money from them getting gifts. I don't pay for chores either. They get money here and there from family members. And I took my son, my older son is Adam, I took him to the bank. He'll be 5 in June. They want him to be able to write his name before he can get a bank account. But I'm very aware, because of how I was raised and how I've seen people go and how they're still going, and they're many times older than me. So I think it can go either way. Like, we got to talk to our kids, but whatever they see, if they see the one extreme, the very good or the very bad, they're gonna pick up on it. So I totally agree. I totally agree with teaching toddlers about money and talking to them about it. And I've told my son, when you can write your first and your last name, he can write his first, you can get your own bank account. And so that'll be like the milestone, maybe by the time he's 5. So thank you for sharing that, Ashley, and thank you very much, April. I would love it if you drop some information in our chat session, or leave it with Fatima. I'm very interested to follow up with you and hear more about your services. Thank you.
You my link.
Well, you know what, Kirsten, you just said my thank you. So turn it over to Fatima. I'm hoping that we have another one of these next month, and we've done our time here together. Thank you, ladies.
Just want to say thank you so much, all of you guys, for coming in. I want to thank our speakers. I really want to thank Cindy. Thank you so much for moderating this.